Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I know we've been not shooting a video for a long time, but we're back with another one to continue with our Seaborn series. If you haven't watched any of the previous videos in this series, please make sure to click on the link above or in the description and watch the previous videos so you get an idea of what you can do with Seaborn. In today's video, we are going to be looking at something called rel plots or relationship plots and how this can be useful to visualize a data set and what can you visualize. So just to give you a very quick background, relationship plots are primarily used to understand the statistical relationship between different columns of a data set, right? So if you want to see how column 1 pairs against column 2, then you can use a relationship plot. And along with that, a relationship plot or a rel plot also gives you the ability to visualize similar plots in multiple dimensions, right? So when I say multiple dimensions, it means similar plots uh, plotted across different categories in rows and columns. And we'll see how that makes sense and how we can do that as well. So today's video is going to be quite short because we're going to be very focused on just this one particular plot. So let's go ahead and see how we can code this out and how we can get the plot done. First things first, let's import the libraries and the data set that we want to use. So we're going to start with importing our libraries. Right, so let's type that in. And one thing again is that always remember comments are very important in any code. So make sure you're always commenting. All right. Let's say import Seaborn as SNS first and foremost. And then we'll import matplotlib also in case we need to use it. We may not, but it's always good to use, import it and keep it in case you need it later. All right, so these are two libraries I want to import. So for those of you who are watching my videos for the first time, note that while you're importing libraries, if you're using the as keyword here, it's primarily used to give an alias to a larger or a bigger library name. So you are more comfortable using it in your code with the shorter names. All right. So next thing is we're going to be loading the data set, and for simple illustration purposes, we're going to be using the penguins data set because it's very easy to understand. We've used the penguins data set in my last video as well, where we spoke about how you can have extended box plots and various other plots. So if you want to understand more about the data set, do watch some of the previous videos as well. So here we're going to say penguins equals SNS dot load underscore data set, and in round brackets we'll just say penguins, right? Let's go ahead and run this, and we'll have the data set successfully imported. We can very quickly visualize the top 7 rows if we need to. So we know what's in the data set, that it's loaded correctly, we have no errors, and everything is good to go ahead. So this is the data set that we have, right? So we have different species of penguins, where they are found, and some of the measurements of their body parts, like flippers and beaks and bills and body mass and so on. All right, so now let's go ahead and plot a relationship plot. And what we want to try and visualize first is, let's do it step by step, right? First things first, let's try and visualize a simple scatter plot of flipper length and body mass. All right, let's start with that and then we'll take it from there. So let's say sns.rel plot. So this is the function for relationship plot. All right, we'll say x equals, so that's on the x-axis, flipper underscore length underscore I'm picking this from the column name up here, right? And then we have the y-axis, which is the body mass, so body underscore mass in grams. Now where does this come from? This comes from the penguins data set, so it's important to specify that as well. And along with that, we got to specify what kind of plot we want. So in this case, as I mentioned, we're going to use a scatter plot. So let's type in scatter and try to run that. So while that runs, just know that while you're using a relationship plot, you can visualize the relationship in both a scatter plot form as well as a line plot form. So if you change the kind from kind equals scatter to kind equals line, then you'll get a line plot instead. So wherever you feel a line plot is more fit or more apt, please go ahead and use that instead. So now we see there's a simple scatter plot of flipper length and body mass. And more or less, we understand that as flipper length is increasing, the body mass is also increasing, right? That's what we understand. Now, as I mentioned, relationship plot is not only used to visualize simple scatter plots. You need to see relationships across categories as well. So we're going to say that, okay, I want to visualize the relationship plots of flipper length and body mass across gender or sex as one of the dimensions or one of the categories, and species as the other dimension or other category, right? Now let's go ahead, run it and see what happens. So what you're expecting to see now is you're expecting to see a grid of scatter plots, right? So as you see here, now we have a grid of multiple scatter plots, right? And for each scatter plot, it's labeled on the top of the scatter plot what is the species that this is being visualized for, and what is the gender or the sex it's being visualized for. So this one is this, for example, this one is another one. Similarly, you have chin strap and male, chin strap and female, so on and so forth. So now you can visualize side by side, one below the other, and start comparing the distributions or the statistical relationships between each of these different categories as well. All right. So if let's say you are, you're in a sales industry and you want to figure out, hey, what is the sales distribution in the morning, what is the sales distribution in the evening, it's very easy to visualize this side by side, and then you understand the relationship better, right? So this is something similar to that. All right. Now you can keep adding multiple things to this. For example, we want to say that, okay, there is a possibility maybe that within each species, each gender, uh, they may be thriving on the same island or on different islands, right? So we can say hue, which adds in another parameter, is equal to island, which is also part of the data set. Now, once we run that, this adds an additional layer to your relationship plot. So along with having multiple scatter plots, now it's also color coded by island. So these are the three different islands. And now you can see, okay, maybe the variation in the island also is creating some sort of a variation in the distribution. So every island probably has a different distribution. So that's how you can keep expanding on your relationship plot to start seeing more or analyzing your data more in depth, and to start comparing them even more deeply. Right? And this particular grid on which all these plots are plotted is called a facet grid. And you can actually access the facet grid using the facet grid function and add more elements to the facet grid. We'll do that in one of our other videos. But that's just to get you started and to understand that this is also possible using Seaborn, right? So hopefully you understood what is being taught here. Just for a quick recap, we imported our libraries, we took the penguins data set, and we plotted a simple relationship plot across flipper length body mass. And we saw that across different categories, across different dimensions, right? Try it out. Let me know in the comments whether you're able to successfully get this. Try it out on your own data set. And if you have any queries, do drop it in the comments. If you have liked the video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want me to create something that you would like to see, do let me know as well, and I'd be happy to create it for you. Right? So, till then, happy learning and see you in the next video.